Hey, it's me, and welcome to Trump Mafia. Now you can see this as part 2 of talking about all roads leading to Kenya, meaning Obama, and it's about Obamagate. Now in the other video I discussed how James Comey set up a partnership in the UK with an ex-MI6 officer, Christopher Steele, and an ex-KGB guy who were going to make a Trump dossier. And that dossier could be used to get a warrant from the FISA court, and then you could engage in legal spying. And I concluded, of course, he's not just sitting there doing it by himself. He got instructions from President Obama. He was the source. In other words, it's a road that leads to Kenya. But let's talk about the other track that I mentioned. At that time I was talking about Susan Rice and the unmasking, the CIA, the NSA. How did that happen, right? But before I do, I want to talk about John McCain, because it's going to tie into the second part, you'll see. Now, John McCain is sitting there and he found out there's a dossier in the UK. And he hates Trump so much that he actually sent an aide all the way to UK to get that dossier, right, and bring it back, and then they can give it to the FBI, right? Oh, American hero, John McCain. And he really bought into that whole Trump dossier thing. And of course, you know, John McCain is dumb as a rock, right? Now, of course, James Comey already had the dossier. I mean, he's the one that set up the partnership with the MI6 guy, and he has a Trump dossier. And then you have John McCain coming saying, hey, I got this secret, super duper confidential Trump dossier. And looking for a pat on the back or something, or like he's an American hero, right? Give him a medal. And of course James Comey is sitting right there. He has a dossier, but it's probably like, okay, thanks for your service, John. You've done an amazing job. And he's like, really? Yes, John. Yeah, like an American hero. Really? Oh, man. Okay, so let's talk about the serious issues here, which is the other track, which is the unmasking and Susan Rice, right? Now, John Brennan, this really creepy looking guy, right? He's getting information in the summer of 2016 about Trump from British intelligence. In fact, the head of British intelligence, and the reason we know that is because The Guardian in the UK found out and exposed it. And you have to wonder, why does the head of British intelligence have all this secret information about Donald Trump to give to John Brennan, right? It means that they already had some spying going on. But you have this guy giving it to the head of the CIA, and John Brennan gets it, and what does he do? Right away, he disseminates it on Capitol Hill. And so we're talking about July and August of 2016, and the main people that he gave it to was the Gang of Eight, including Marco Rubio, right? And you know, just look at the Gang of Eight. John McCain, Marco Rubio already get the message, right? And isn't Schumer one of them? Now, that doesn't really matter because he disseminated it to many more people, but it's very interesting, right? Again, you have John McCain in the mix and Marco Rubio. Ooh, I hate Russia so much, and the Russian trolls under the command of Vladimir Putin. And one of those trolls is Alex Jones. But anyway, he did not just disseminate it on Capitol Hill and to the Gang of Eight, he also gave it to the FBI or other snippets. And that for the purpose of having the FBI go out and start spying on Trump and the computer that was at the Trump Tower, surveillance. So yes, wiretapping, to use a general term. And it's also mentioned that John Brennan's CIA operated like part of the Hillary campaign. And it has been reported that they had Hillary for President cups in the offices there, and they made no issue about just proclaiming how they were all like for Hillary, right? It was like the CIA was a campaign office for Hillary 2016, and that is really disturbing. But you have to understand, John Brennan has a superior, and it's Susan Rice. Amazing, right? How did that stupid idiot get that high up? I know, she lied about Benghazi, so she got promoted. That's how. And again, all roads lead to Kenya, which is Obama. So you have Obama and Susan Rice sitting there, and John Brennan gives them the information. Susan Rice gets it. She also disseminates it, or her sidekick Ben Rhodes is disseminating it to a newspaper. So you have the second track, and that's it. The unmasking was done by John Brennan, then disseminated by John Brennan to the Gang of Eight, to the FBI, and of course to his boss, Susan Rice, and Obama. And that's it. You have additional leaks to New York Times, and then just to make sure, Obama puts out this executive order to make sure 12333, right? To make sure everybody gets it, and the reason is to cover the tracks. And so what Obama really did was create like a fog, right? So you don't know who really did the leaking and where it really came from, and that makes Obama complicit. But of course, he's been there at the front of it with Susan Rice the whole time, right? So again, you have two tracks. One is James Comey working with an ex-MI6 guy, ex-KGB guy, Trump dossier, justify, FISA warrant, spy on Trump and his family, and it's legal. Second track, you have John Brennan working with the head of British intelligence and spies in Estonia, coming up with Trump material that they somehow had, meaning they spied on Trump, British intelligence. Then using that, spreading it to the Gang of Eight, especially, but also giving it to Susan Rice and the FBI. The FBI then has more cover to again apply for FISA or go right ahead and wiretap President Trump. And Susan Rice can disseminate the information as well and have somebody else leak it. So you see people giving cover to each other. You see people getting different false information to use as justification to engage in legal spying and unmasking. And then you have Obama creating this fog to cover everybody, right? And if that's not a conspiracy, I don't know what is. I mean, these people are sick. I mean, they're all criminals. Now, it's ironic that the real felony, the leaking of this to the New York Times, it's actually not the worst thing. And it's really the conspiracy that is the big crime here, and the cover-up. And so, of course, I'm here with a series of videos called All Roads Lead to Kenya, right? Which is Obamagate. And you can make arguments that it's just John Brennan. He was so all in for Hillary and just hated Donald Trump on a personal level that he did it all by himself. He just took the initiative to go through all of these steps and then, just disseminate information. And then you can also say, and James Comey also, he was so in the bag for Hillary Clinton that he just went out and did that, and also came back with information and got a FISA warrant and engaged in spying. And at one point you have to say, really? These people that are all reporting to someone else. James Comey reports to both Lynch at the DOJ and President Obama, and John Brennan reports to both Susan Rice and Obama. So it turns out these clowns separately on their own initiatives went out and did all this stuff, and they weren't doing it because somebody told them to. And that is really the question. So are James Comey and John Brennan gonna take all the heat, or are they gonna finger Susan Rice and Barack Obama?
All right.